everybody, my name is Colleen Evans. I'm Director of Natural Sciences at the Staten Museum, and today I'm taking you into the collections to show you a little bit about how camouflage works, specifically within insects. So camouflage is what allows an organism to blend into its environment, either to keep it from becoming prey or to keep prey from noticing it. So to start with, basic camouflage is something like within cicadas and lots of other organisms, or even when you think about like camouflage clothing, you usually have a lot of colors that'll help it blend into the background, so a lot of browns and greens and a lot of disruptive patterning in order to help it blend in. But camouflage can be a lot more complex than that. So you have what's called disruptive coloration, which technically a lot of traditional camouflage that you think of, so the greens and browns again, is a form of disruptive coloration, but so is something like this where I have all these stripes and spots. So that makes it a lot more difficult for something to see where the edges of an organism are, especially if for something like this it would be fluttering its wings a lot, it'd be flying around. And so it'd be very difficult for a predator to be able to see where the organism actually is, because really it doesn't want to grab at the wings don't do it any good necessarily. If it was trying to eat it, it wants to get to the body, and it's really difficult to figure out where the body is with all of this other coloration going on. But where insects tend to really excel, I think anyway, is in mimicry. So a lot of insects have different ways that their bodies are constructed that help it blend into environment, but by looking like something else as opposed to just blending in. So classic examples are things like a leaf insect, which its wings and other parts of its body, so like on its legs, it has these different structures that very, very much resemble an actual leaf. Or you have things like a stick bug, which is a similar kind of concept. You have this guy that very much looks like a stick, and so the only reason you might even notice it is if it starts moving. And then you kind of realize, like, wait a second, that stick is kind of going up and down, like sticks aren't supposed to do that. But it gets a lot more complex than even that in terms of something like this oak leaf butterfly. So obviously on this side, doesn't look like anything, at least not in terms of camouflage. You have a lot of pretty blues and oranges. But if you flip this guy over, so there's its top side again, but if you flip it over, look at the ventral side, it looks like leaves. And so whenever this butterfly has its wings closed, you just see this leaf patternation, which is really beneficial if it's at rest. And so if it's at rest, it's sitting on a branch or something, it's got its wings closed, it's much more difficult for a predator to find it. But getting more complex again, you've got something like this peanut head lanternfly. So these guys are pretty cool. First of all, you've got eye spots on them, which a lot of insects have eye spots. That's somewhat of a type of camouflage in that it kind of does look like eyes of something like an owl or another animal that whatever's trying to eat this one might be startled by. But where this one gets particularly strange is it does have that big growth coming out the top of its head. It's the peanut part of peanut lanternfly. But it's thought to resemble kind of like a lizard or a snake. So you kind of have like the bump here, which is where the eye might be, unlike a lizard or snake, and then the snout. And so that would also startle away predators or keep it from thinking that it is something tasty to eat. But I think one of the most impressive examples, first of all, is from one of the most impressive insects. So this is an Atlas moth. So first of all, this moth really is just that big. It's the largest insect. But at the top of its wings, it's got kind of this structure where it kind of sticks out a bit. It's got some eye spots. And what this one does when it feels threatened or is trying to startle away a predator, it'll kind of flutter its wings in such a way that those structures look like snakes or cobras and will startle away a predator that's trying to eat it. So that's kind of like, it seems a little sketch, I guess, because, it doesn't seem to us necessarily as people that that's what that is, but it definitely could startle away an animal predator that's trying to eat it. So those are just some examples of the way camouflage works and kind of the very creative ways that insects have evolved in order to startle away predators or to keep prey from noticing them. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned a little bit, and I hope to see you again soon.